I was about to start talking with the music on. Welcome once again. It's not Thursday, it's Wednesday, but once again, welcome to the Straub Bros Sports Show. Big bro Ken, little bro Drew. Drew, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
Dude, I'm doing great. Listen, I gotta turn down my headset every single time you start talking because I play it so loud when the music starts.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
No,
And
no, no, no. I'm saying it's a good song. I turn it up
I
and
know,
then you start talking. I'm like,
I
ooh.
know, absolutely. Shout out. And then I just come in here yelling and makes it all just 100 times worse. But as always, welcome. And you know where you are. Straub Bros Sports Show here on the 216 Sports Network. Follow and like us on Facebook if you're watching us there. Like and subscribe on YouTube to find us and the rest of the gang. 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth. The Jay Rich Show. The Ruler's Minute with Rico McGee. Outside Interference. And the Straub Bros Sports Show. Our show. You can also find us on TikTok at the SBSS. Little bro put up new ones this last week, I think it was, from our interview with Keegan. You can find us on X, formerly Twitter, at Straub Bros Sports. That's where you find me, Ranton, Raven, following the games, having some fun with you there. A lot of Cleveland State coverage. Hey, I know it does feel like a Thursday.
It does feel like Thursday.
What up, Pops? And then on Spotify, where you can catch up on anything that you have missed. And you can ride with us from the beginning if you want to take a ride back from the first pod that we ever did. With that being said, we got a big show ahead. We got a lot to talk about. So let's get right into the news and notes. And as you see, everyone relax. We will be talking guards. We're gonna wait. We're gonna give it a minute. We're gonna get through some news, and then we will get it all together there. But let's start with the news. Let's start with the nerds. Let's start with your guys. I'm not just joking. Dartmouth Hoops. The players have joined a local union. They voted. Drew, this is a landmark thing. It was landmark when it happened originally, and they allowed it to happen. And now they've officially done it, and they voted, and they're in.
Thoughts? Yeah, it's interesting because I know a couple years ago, guys in UCLA tried to do it. I'm pretty sure, but that failed. But this is like a interesting first step because now they are going to be treated like workers. They are going to sign like contracts like that. And it's going to be very much modernized. And it's going to be kind of interesting to see the positives and the negatives of this because obviously you're going to get some freedom and stuff like that. But now you're going to get treated like an employee and not like a student. So you're going to lose a lot of benefits that some of these kids are going to get. So it's early. So, we don't know a lot of information on the immediate impact. But the fallout is going to be very interesting to watch.
Absolutely, because I mean, there's let's be honest. We have to be honest, and this is not a knock to the kids at Dartmouth. There's a reason it happened there, and it wasn't Kentucky or Alabama or Ohio State or Notre Dame, or Stanford. Schools with just as good in reputations and academics, but there's a reason these guys are doing it. Read the joke that you saw in the comment section because I think it's I think it's fair.
Yeah. The top comment was, so I think the first item on the ballot is getting rid of the 18 players that went 8-22 this year. And I mean, yeah, you're going to be held a lot more responsible for your actions if you were getting treated as an employee and not of a student as a bigger organization. So we'll see. And I think this is a good question to pose, Ray. What's that do for NIL? I have no idea. No clue. So that'll be expressed in the offseason.
We don't even know NIL to the fullest yet, and we've already screwed it up. We've already screwed it up. Mom, of course, your favorite guys. We're always here rocking with you. Appreciate you, Mom, for checking in, and yeah, of course, appreciate you, Ray. So yeah, we will see what happens from there going forward. All right, we're gonna sneak some footy news in to make everybody mad at us already. The Champions League is changing the format. The Champions League is the biggest premier tournament in all of Europe, non-international, where all the top teams from around all of Europe compete against each other. The format is changing. What it used to be is basically a groups of teams. The top two teams would come out, and then we would go knockout stage, but you would play a home and away until you get to the final. They are changing that, little bro.
Yes. So now they are also expanding. They're going from 32 teams to 36. But now is going to be very similar to those that know of World Cup qualifying. So in terms, you are going to have 4 pods of teams each having, if my math is correct, 9 teams in them. And each team will play 1 or 2 teams from each of the pots, creating a total of 8 games. And so the top point getters after those games will move on. I want to say the top 8 will move on to I misspoke there. The top 16 will move on to the elimination stage. And then below that will go to Europa League. And then below that will be eliminated entirely. So a little interesting. There are definitely some mixed feelings just because a lot of people are saying this is more for the money aspect. This is also for more so that higher teams don't get knocked out as early so that it creates more intrigue. But there are also some good feelings saying that this is going to make it much more competitive and also more close in the standings. Ken, I want to know your thoughts on this.
Great. Just another table I can finish 6th in. The expanding, I guess, is a good thing. I guess. I don't. This is tough. I'm not sure. Let's see. I liked soccer for the most part. We kind of do. That's what we do. We do groups. That's what we do. So now the fact that we're just going to get rid of the groups and go to the table, which is what we do for the leagues. And if you are a fan of soccer, going back and forth between the tables and the leagues, our groups and the leagues, is not difficult. It's something you're kind of just you're grown up with when you do it. So that is tough. I guess we'll see. I'm not sure yet. Let me sit on this. Let me chew it up a little bit. And then no, Wrexham will not be in, but I appreciate that you did grab it.
Maybe about 10 years or so.
Absolutely. So yeah, we'll see on that. I'm gonna leave it open for now. Let's move on to some baseball. Not the Guardians yet, though. Hang tight. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred will retire when his contract is up in 2029.
Is it 2028?
Oh, 28? 28?
No. I'm saying, is this year 2028? Can he leave? Because listen, I respect his attempts, but I think that he's just gotten it all wrong in terms of what he's trying to do to make baseball better. I think you need someone that's young, that's innovative, similar to what basketball went through, where they're able to just have a better branding. And we'll see. I mean, Manfred, I'm sure, is not going to do anything to, in extreme in his next couple of years. He'll probably just ride out into the sunset. So in 2029, 2020, or 2030, we'll get to see actually what the new ideas are and who gets to come in.
First rule of business will be to put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
That is accurate.
And then the rest of the steroid guys too, because we're just done. Let's just be done with this. All right, moving on. I'm not going to be overly critical of Rob Manfred, but I'm also not a fan. So we'll just keep it moving. You should have left the Athletics in Oakland, but it's whatever. Also want to mention some Cavaliers stuff. Donovan Mitchell has been out for a couple games with some knee treatment. So we hope to have him back ASAP. And the bigger news from the Cavs the other day, they raised a banner in honor of Nick Gilbert, the late son of owner Dan Gilbert. He passed away in May at the age of only 26 from neurofibromatosis, an incurable disorder. Remembered by Cavs fans vividly as our smiling guy with the bow tie, who sat and just kind of showed all the excitement that we did when we locked down not one but 2 number 1 picks, 2011 and then 2 years later. A great and deserving honor for him to have that banner. Not congratulations, I should say, but a good thing to see happen. And shout out to them, the Cavaliers, for doing it. Obviously, it's Dan's decision, but it's a great thing to have done and a great honor. But yeah, and now, yes, it wasn't just Garland, but Donovan Mitchell, but yeah, Mobley, and Strauss out too. So once again, Cavaliers dealing with injuries. You can check up more on that with Jay. He gives you kind of a breakdown every game. He's at all the Cavs and the Charge games. So check in over there as well. But I'm going to say this. They showed all year with a couple guys go down and they just kind of continue to play well. So I don't think it's going to be detrimental. Obviously, we need these guys healthy before playoff time. So, and just because I'll put them up together, that would be LA. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The people listening back on Spotify who are just listening and have no idea, but it's okay. You'll be all right. You can tag along. You'll understand the inside jokes at some point. Moving on to a little bit of NFL news. Mike Evans re-signed with the Buccaneers, 2-year, $52 million. I think it was 38 guaranteed or 30 around, excuse me, somewhere in the 30s. And the biggest one that kind of happened this week, the Broncos will be releasing Russell Wilson, taking a $85 million contract.
Can I have that? Can I just like, can they take that money and give that? Because, oh my God, dude. They even raised the cap, but it's not going to help them in
No.
that. That is, they're in full rebuild mode now. Absolutely awful bit of business there. And yeah, just there's a reason why you hire the coach first and you hire the GM before the quarterback, because this is always what happens. And yeah, I do not foresee the Broncos being competitive anytime soon.
I think the sad part is Russell Wilson did not have a bad year. So like this
It was
is not
okay, yeah.
I have not been the biggest haven't been a Russell defender at all in terms of his play because it wasn't great at the end of his tenure in Seattle. But there was absolutely a reason to defend him last year. So I get it. He's not his guy. He's not Sean Payton's guy. Fine. But just let's hope Russ finds a nice spot. Steelers. I don't know, maybe
Sure.
Atlanta. I don't know. Who knows? Cleveland Browns, you're on the clock with Deshaun Watson. Every contract has the ability to be gotten rid of. But we're not gonna dive into that. We're going to unfortunately have to end the news segment on a not so great bit of news, unfortunately. Chris Mortensen passed away, unfortunately, this week. I wanted to make mention of that at the age of 72. A legend in the sports business, someone that not just I, but you grew up. Take a minute to search out the messages and the retweets from his peers and his colleagues. Every one of them was not exactly the same, but you'll just exactly see how much he was loved and respected. So, rest easy, Morton. Our condolences to his colleagues at ESPN and obviously his family and wife. Actually, no, we have a little bit of college football news, so we will go from that. We'll pick it up a little bit before we jump into our Guardians talk.
Yeah, we'll go from something a little sad. We'll go to something that's, I guess, kind of confusing to me.
Mm-hmm.
A Texas quarterback, Arch Manning, has rejected to be in the new NCAA video game, quoted as saying he wants to focus on competing for the starting job and will wait until he stars until he's a star to be in the game. Ken, he knows that he doesn't have to actually be in the game. Like he's not physically in the game, but he's gonna play. He just has to get skinned.
I think my other favorite one was somebody who said he realized he's not coding the game, right? Like he doesn't have to do anything. Yeah.
Was $600 in a game like not enough for him? I don't understand.
Okay, and there's been my goodness, there's been a ton of athletes who have opted in. Arch is the first one we've really heard about opting out. So I cannot be contradictory of what I do on the pod, which is remember that these are kids and they should be defended before most of the things. Number one, Ray does bring up a good point. But the other thing is Arch has been in the spotlight for so long. This is not new to him. I'll give him this. This is the one thing that I want to defend him on. Apparently, from what I have read, EA is only taking like 80 players from each team.
Yeah.
So if Arch is opting out because the third string linebacker or the backup punter or someone like that is going to get $600 and get to be in the game, then it actually is a reason. But if I'm in his camp, I'm letting that be known.
Exactly.
I'm not like Arch, but you know what? But Saturday night at the Hook'em Horns Ale House was okay, but one Saturday afternoon, you can't go put the green suit on. And is that what it is? I like it. Is he afraid?
Who cares, man?
Right, exactly. So yeah, that was a bit of nonsense. But all right,
hold on. Real quick. They're gonna upgrade his rating just because he's a Manning anyways. So it's not like he's gonna get a worse rating.
Exactly.
Maybe he should be better then. Yeah, you're right.
You got to put that up on the screen. I can't see it for the second.
Maybe he should.
Yeah. Well, see, yeah, exactly. How about just be better, kid? Like, thank you, Ray. I appreciate that.
Good
All right,
Lord.
let's get to what everybody's here for right now. It's time to guard the land, baby. Let's talk our Guardians. Okay, spring training is among us. It is rolling. I wanted to kind of get be able to look at it more than a couple games and stuff like that. But the first thing I want to talk about, and his name is Angel Martinez. Okay. Leading the team in total bases, number one. Okay. Batting average, or total bases with 16. Batting average because he's batting 561. And he's played 7 games, 14 at bats. So he's playing, yeah. That's the first thing I'm not out. I have plenty to go, but that's what I wanted to touch first.
You're absolutely right. And today he had a triple and an RBI against the Brewers today. So awesome. He's continuing insane. He started in Double-A last year and has moved up to Triple-A at the end of the year. And so there is a lot of promise and intrigue at potentially saying, like, obviously I don't think we're gonna bring him up, right? We have so much kind of backlog in that position right now. But there's going to be a time where someone's slumping or someone's hurt where you're just like, maybe bring the kid up, see what he's got, because it is a new team. You have a new manager. You have a lot of young guys. Let's see what we got. You know what I mean?
Way to team me up, and you don't even have my notes. Speaking of the young guys, I want to dive into just how much of a young guys thing we're talking about here, because this was my favorite stat as I was going through and I was looking at some total bases and some stuff like that. Something kept catching my eye, so I started to just click. Here are your leaders in total bases for the Guardians. Okay, now obviously we've got some veterans: Jose, Hedges, Fry, Schneemann. Like, you've got some guys who are a little older, but this is these are your top guys. Angel Martinez, he's 22. Chase, he's 22. Will Brennan is 26. Plains is 22. Tyler Freeman is 24. Stephen Kwan is still only 26.
Did you see that Chase DeLauder home run the other day?
Oh, yeah. Oh my goodness, I did. When he hit it to the moon. How far was it officially?
458 feet.
Thank you. Noel is 22. Tolentino is 22. Gabriel Arias is 24. Manzardo is 23. Josh Naylor is 26. That's 12 of your. This is my favorite stat of the week. 12 of your 15 leaders in total bases are under the age of 26. I'm more excited about that than anything else. I listen. We are gonna finish in 3rd or 4th place this year. I'm just gonna break that news to everybody now. But it is going to be fun to watch some of these kids. It is it could, because here's the other thing, and you have to hit home runs. You can ask the Rangers about that. And my guy Martinez also leads the team in home runs with 2. So we're gonna struggle to score some games, but we're gonna play small ball. I think we're gonna get back to what we were with that first couple years of Tito. But yeah, like, that's on the offensive end there. Yeah. Let these kids play. I know my guy Nick wants to talk about first base all the time. I mean, both your guys at first base are they're doing okay. I like the Naylor Kyle platoon. I think that's what you need to do. Naylor needs to be in this lineup as much as possible. The team loves him and rallies around him. There's just no taking him out. So you leave him in there and you get Manzardo at bats, period.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Honestly, so being in Cincinnati for a while, you kind of get the feeling that this is going to be a very similar team to how the Cincinnati Reds were last year. You got a lot of young kids, you got a lot of potential, and you just kind of have to see what's going to stick when you put those guys out there, because then that's the core you want to build your thing around. Also, some notes coming into spring training. Will Brennan has added 10 pounds, mostly a muscle. He's looking to come. Yeah, you get an extra. Yeah, he's looking to have some power. One of the older guys, though, Bieber, he is added 3 miles per hour on his velocity on his fastball, which is the highest in 3 years. He's up to 95 from 92. What I'm saying, though, is this is your team this year is we have a lot of young talent. We have a lot of veterans that want to come and kind of let's just find your core in the first couple months of these young teams and let's just go.
You
Let
brought up
these
the
kids
pitching.
play.
I agree. And now I'm going to give the credit or, the backhanded compliment, I guess, because I'm going to be critical of the pitching here in a second.
Yeah.
Pitching in spring training is, it's one of the worst things to have to look at, because if you want to talk about, people who are just trying things and going through the motions and literally just not trying to get hurt, you're talking about pitchers. Like, the arms only got so many throws on it. So yeah, you got to save those when you're facing the kid from quadruple A who just got drafted out of high school. Like, it just is what it is. But I'm going to be a little critical of the pitching. Yes, there is a lot of belief that Bybee will be good this year too. There's a lot of hope in that on the pitching end. I'm not going to lie. But here's what I've dug up. These are stats. I can't do anything but read them to you. They've given up 18 home runs as a pitching staff, okay, in 10 games. Now, I want to compare that real quick in the division. The Tigers, 13 hit, 14 given up in 10 games. The White Sox, 8 hit, 12 given up in 12 games. The Royals, 13 hit and 12 given up. The Twins, 6 and 8 in 9 games. Obviously, not all of those are positive. Some of those are negative run differentials in terms of just home runs and giving up home runs. We're at 18-2. 18 given up 2 hit. That is going to be a struggle if that is going to be indicative of what the rest of the season for this pitching staff is going to be like. Now, like I just said, it's spring bleeping training. Like, I understand that. But I can't not tell you what I found when I was diving in on some of these numbers. Like the whip, that's a better stat than just some ERA. The Royals, 1.47. The Tigers, 1.5. Twins, 1.55. White Sox, 1.59. Guardians, 1.7.
And yeah, I get it. But like, I think we have to just push the point that let's wait until like the month of April when our starting pitchers have had 3 starts.
My only thing was, we're going to talk about the Guardians. I'm not just going to sit here and play spring training. It's time to guard the land. We're going to the World Series. I got to be honest too. But like I said, I don't put a whole lot of stock in that. Like I said, guys are not. We're gonna, especially with some of the older guys. I'm just saying. I do want to say for our new manager, I love what I'm seeing here,
and everyone does apparently.
Like, I love Tito. He was my guy. But the last year when we're not playing the kids, when we're still running Brian Shaw out there, all love to Brian Shaw and all that, but like, the kids are getting the at bats consistently. Yeah. Okay, they're not being taken out for, the older guys are not playing as much, or not playing as much, but the kids are getting the at bats. But it's not just on the batting side, on the pitching side too. We talk about Bybee, Heron, Anthony Banda, Ben Lively. Like, there's other guys who are newer to the team, and some of the younger guys. I missed the younger guys. Xavier Curry, Hunter Gaddis. These younger guys are getting the innings as well. This is how we're going to win games, though. We're not going to win games with a top-heavy lineup because Lindor and Ramirez have led off with 2 back-to-back homers. That's not going to work. Yeah. We want to see Quan get back to that rookie year form, but even then, he's not a power hitter. That's not what he does. This team needs to score runs with some good timely hitting, moving and stealing bases again, and
if he can stay, hold on,
and Ramirez as well.
If he can stay healthy, because the kid can't stay healthy. That's the issue, man. It was like McKenzie right before he came up. He was good. He looked great, and then he got hurt.
Well, here's the other thing I want to mention. Since you're going to do this, I gotta do this at the end of Guardians talk. I'm here for the kids. So it's let them learn. Let's build into, obviously not this year, but into next year. Like I said, I think this is a 4th place, 3rd place team. If the pitching is outstanding, we can compete, like, once again. But if the pitching isn't good, these kids are going to have off nights where the pitching won't carry them. So I guess, is it time to play the long ball game? Listen, this Guardians team, when we were the Cleveland Indians, okay? Yes, and this is perfect. This is why I was talking about it. Baltimore, the way Atlanta did it a couple years ago when they brought all those kids up, okay? Is it time to do what the Guardians and the former Cleveland Indians were always good at? Taking a guy and turning him into what was Manny Ramirez and Jim Thome and Kenny Lofton, and what was Grady Sizemore and Victor Martinez, and then what became Carlos Santana and Jose Ramirez and Lindor and Trevor Bauer. And like, is it time to maybe look at moving Andres Jimenez, Shane Bieber, or the name that I know no one will ever want to hear me say? Yeah,
Yeah,
but
no,
and
I
I
love
know,
you,
but
but no.
Jose is a possibility. I know he took a very great deal to stay in Cleveland, and he wants to stay in Cleveland. But
That's the thing.
you also don't have to move him. You could move Bieber. You could move Jimenez. You could move
So
some other pieces. Is it time for us to kind of make one of those deals to reset the pitching, to, and let these kids come up where there is some backlogs in those positions? Miles Straw packaged in that deal.
so I agree with you here. I think the deal that we get with Ramirez, I think is way too good to just go, yeah, we're gonna trade him now. I think the amount of money that we're getting for the amount of production that he gives on a night to night basis, I think is too good to pass up. I think he brings so much that
Take him out.
yeah,
Take him out and go back to the other guys.
but if conversations come, especially with Bieber that have come up in the past couple years where he is not going to sign a team friendly deal,
No.
I am more than okay if we're sitting at below 500 come the trade deadline. Give it to a team that needs some pitching down the road. I'm okay with that.
He's not going to take a friendly deal. He doesn't deserve a friendly deal. I don't blame him for not wanting to take a friendly deal. But however, we have shown in the past, and it's just how it happens when you're not the Yankees and the Dodgers and you don't have that kind of money. It happened with CC Sabathia. It happened with Bartolo Colon. It happened with Cliff Lee. It happened with who just
CC
retired. I said CC, who just retired.
Kluber.
It happened with thank you. It happened with Kluber. Like it happened with and he fell off when he went to San Diego, but it also happened with him.
Clevenger.
Clevenger. It happened with Trevor Bauer. You move
Well,
on the ownership partnership, but you move on from some of these guys when they're getting older and you can't pay for them. Kluber, we kind of moved on from in the perfect time. CC, well, he was young when he ran on his contract. There was nothing we can do. We moved on from Cliff Lee. Yes, he went on to win, but we turned Cliff Lee into the next part of our franchise, which made playoff runs and runs to the World Series. I think it's time to hit the reset on some of these guys. I really, really do. I really do. I think you start in the outfield. I think Straw's got to go. I think you just let the kids come up and play. I think Jimenez gets explored and shopped as well. And I think you talked about Bieber
trade deadline, yeah.
trade deadline time. But I think Jose needs to be in part of these discussions because it needs to be made very clear to Jose that this is gonna turn into another 3 to 4 year program
Yeah.
and a project. Are you gonna be okay with that? Because then if you can't trade Jose because he's this quality, obviously he's quality, he's an MVP candidate, but because of how much we love him as well, then you owe it to him to talk to him about that. And if he tells you, I don't want to be a part of that, then you move Jose. Then you don't necessarily move Andre Jimenez or Miles Straw. You move Jose with Bieber and you make the biggest haul of all bleeping time for the last couple of years. You know what I mean? These are things that need to start to get talked about when we're also having a discussion about 22 and 24-year-olds about how we're so excited and we want them to be our starters. Well, then what are you going to do with some of these veterans who aren't going to want to stick around for that?
No, and I completely agree. However, I think that's a discussion for, like I said, a trade deadline because right now you don't know what you have.
No.
Then once you start to figure out what you have, then here comes we have the pitching, but the pitching's not going to come along for 2 or 3 years. Let's get rid of Bieber. Let's get maybe a pitching prospect again. Let's get an outfield prospect from Bieber because we're not going to compete for a year or two. then we can do it. But until we know everything, I think, let's wait until we kind of see what we have. But I agree that that's definitely a possibility and something that we should constantly monitor, especially, with how young and how long we're going to have to wait until this team's competitive again.
On it, but I'm going to look ahead. Just I'm going to throw two teams out here right now. Whatever National League team has separated themselves and is going to compete with the Dodgers and needs that arm to compete with the Dodgers specifically. And then
not the Bearcats, but the Reds.
The Reds. Okay. And then what team in the American League is willing to pay the ransom to
that we're going to give them? Yeah.
Absolutely. So, but yeah, that is for the future. Either way, I'm excited about the kids. I really am. Yeah. I'm excited about this Guardians team. I don't care about the record, but something to look forward to there. Okay, enough spring training. Let's move on to the hoops. Let's talk about our men. Let's talk about our men top 25. Obviously, conference championship week is coming upon us. So that everybody's kind of wrapping it up here. Houston on top again. Purdue and Illinois played a great game last night as well. A team to kind of keep an eye on in there as well. The Dayton Flyers, who need to continue to win to kind of keep rolling in as well. Give the people a couple highlights around the board here.
Yeah, like you said, Houston's doing really good. Purdue just came off a pretty not great loss against Illinois last night. Yeah. So that's kind of stuff sucks. Dayton barely holding, and St. Mary's barely holding on to those last top 25 spots. BYU back into the rankings, have been kind of in and out of the top 25, just wins and losses all over the board. But yeah, it's kind of everyone's settling into place, and so it's going to be pretty much what you see is what you get from here on out going into the tournaments, unless someone has a massive upset and failure in the tournaments, which obviously could happen. But a lot of these teams are kind of stuck where they're at.
Absolutely, and like obviously we've been kind of hitting some overviews, I would say, of kind of the men's and even the women. Listen, everyone wants to get to March. Let's be honest, okay? We keep an eye, and we've been keeping you updated. You know who's good. You know how good Caitlin Clark is. You know who's been keeping an eye on. So we're gonna dive in. Next week is going to be a massive show in terms of college basketball because the conference tournaments have started. We're gonna have a spoiler alert. We're gonna have breaking news. We're gonna have Rico on to do brackets with us. We're gonna do a men's and women's bracket. And like I said, we're going to do some kind of NCAA men's and women's Straub Bros Sports Show challenge so we can kind of keep track, make fun of everyone who we're beating and who's beating us. And then when my son wins because he picked, the colors of the logos, we can all laugh at each other. But I do also want to mention, I want to get it home for a second. The Cleveland State men, the Horizon League tournaments have begun. They won last night. The men did against IUPU, 85-66. Yeah. Their next game is tomorrow at 7:00 against Youngstown State. Cleveland State men trying to win the Horizon League tournament and get themselves a berth into March Madness. Moving on to has the most court stormings.
We got one.
Yeah, your Bearcats got one, so does that count? But moving back on, and here we will slide over to, and I'll take care of it, Drew. That is the women top 25. First thing I got to do, we have to give a shout out and give some roses, and that would be to South Carolina. Went undefeated for the second year in a row, despite losing all of their starters from last year. Thus, why Dawn Staley is a GOAT and was named Coach of the Year. Absolute no-brainer. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, listen, yeah, South Carolina, like we've been talking about all year. There's not much else to say than good luck, everybody else. So yeah. I'm going to kind of leave it at that. However, I want to shout out, as you can see in the 25th spot there, to Fairfield women's basketball. They are 26-1 in their conference. They have been absolutely dominant all year. And obviously, women's basketball isn't as upset heavy than men's basketball in terms of tournaments and stuff like that. But Fairfield, I kind of been looking at them. I've been reading some of their stuff. they might be a problem for some of those top 15, top 20 teams coming into the tournament. Just keep your eye on them. If you like, we'll obviously talk some betting when March Madness starts. If you want some really hot, some juicy parlays, you might want to add Fairfield into some of those.
Absolutely. Excuse me. That's multiple fines for me today. I will probably spend less time I will do a bracket in 30 seconds. I will be giving you so many parlays and overs and unders and all of the above. I will be absolutely diving in on that. But Ray asked a question. I wanted to talk about it, the new UConn, and he was talking about South Carolina. Yes, in terms of what a new modern day dynasty is, the same way we have talked about kind of, hey, where are the Chiefs? Well, yeah, it's only 3. It's not 5. It's not how it will. You don't win like that anymore. The Golden State Warriors were a dynasty because you don't win 7 or 8 like that anymore. Gone are those days. So no one will ever be kind of dominant as those UConn teams were when they were just beating the drums off of, when they were going undefeated for multiple seasons in a row. Also those Pat Summit Tennessee teams. We won't see dominance like that, but listen, they just went undefeated for 2 seasons in a row. So yeah, we kind of have seen dominance like that. So yeah, they're the baddest on the block right now. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I also do want to give UConn credit. They are 9th in the country, so it's not like they're completely gone. But no, yeah, in terms of who is the standard, who is her in college basketball, yeah, it's South Carolina.
Yeah, in terms of the standard, I would say yeah. I think you kind of hit it there where when UConn was UConn, there was such a talent gap between UConn and the rest that I think just isn't there or just can't be there anymore because Stanford has everybody. Iowa has Caitlin Clark. Ohio State has a bunch of people. LSU has Angel Reese. Like, you have great teams still, where when UConn was there, it was UConn and then 3 steps below is everybody else. Everyone might be a step below South Carolina, but it's not as big of a gap as it was.
And you would have your occasional, obviously Pat Summit before UConn, so Tennessee would always be in the mix there. You would have a Baylor year with Brittany Griner, like you would have your occasional Notre Dame year, absolutely a buzzer beater to win the national championship. I'll never forget you, love you, girl. But the other thing I also want to point out, because if we're going to call South Carolina the new UConn, they also need to win a chip. Because last time I checked, LSU won the championship last year. So, and I know they've won. I'm just saying.
No, you're right.
If you're gonna beat them, especially this year, you're gonna need to cap that off. So we will definitely see about that. Sorry, I got to plug myself in here. Don't know when it came unplugged. Don't want it to find out. I also am going to shift gears. Actually, do you have anything else on the national level here before I do switch gears?
I am ecstatic for all of this.
Yes. Oh, this March Madness is going to be amazing. And I'm not going to lie to you. There is more star power on the women's side than the men. There are going to be some games in the men that we're going to call all-timers because we couldn't understand. We didn't understand necessarily who had separated themselves to a point. There's going to be some matchups that we get in this women's tournament that is going to be some absolute monsters going against each other. I want to kick it back local again. So if you've been kind of following my page or the Straub Bros Sports Show Twitter account at Straub Bros Sports, you know that I kind of have been kicking it with the Cleveland State girls team, been following them, been keeping track, been at post-game press conference. Well, they kick off their first game of the Horizon tournament tomorrow at 7 at home at Cleveland State University. I will be there. Rico McGee of the Rulers Minute will be there. Go and check out our interview with Chris Kilsmeyer, the head coach. It was a lot of fun. There's some good stuff in there. Even though there was some quiet parts in the audio, I did see a couple of tweets criticizing that. I read everything. I did. But there's some great stuff in there. We did talk about, some good, regular season stuff, getting into March and going on. But we did some fun Q&A that if you rock with us on the Straub Bros Sports Show, you kind of know how we get down with some fun questions. So go ahead and take a look at that. But I want to give them some love too. Regular season champs, 27-4 overall, cleaned up the Horizon League awards as well. Coach Kilsmeyer, Coach of the Year. Kobe Maples, Player of the Year. Mickey Purdue, Newcomer of the Year. Carmen Villalobos, Defensive Player of the Year. And entering into tournament play, Jordana Reisman ranks 10th in CSU women's career shot blocked shot list. My CSU girls are there. Let's go. So that's my love on that. With that being said, we will get to your honorary Straub Bro of the week. And I do want to give Ray a shout because he brought up that point. Absolutely. And you made a good point too. Like you asked the question. I think we kind of lobbied it up in terms of them being the new UConn. We got to see they win a chip. Absolutely. So, but your honorary Straub Bro of the week, and we're going to kind of jump back and forth. But Straub, you take the first one.
Yes. And fortunately, it is a theme from last week. Your first honorary Straub Bro of the week is the Cavaliers. Now, why do I say this? Last night, they were down 22 early in the fourth to the first seed Boston Celtics at home. They'd also invited Jason and Travis Kelce, Cleveland natives, to the game and handed out bobbleheads.
Cleveland Heights.
For both of them. Down 22, not looking good. But then out of nowhere, a Cavalanche appeared. They went on a 34-11 run in 9 minutes to end the game and win the game, including 20 points coming from Dean Wade, which included the game-winning putback dunk. Shout out to Dean Wade. A great defensive stop from Darius Garland against Jason Tatum, which was originally called a foul, but reversed upon review, sealed the game, made a great watch that really softened the blow of Cincinnati losing to Oklahoma in overtime. So it made me feel a little better, but an amazing game to watch. It really kind of was back and forth, and then it got really back and then really forth in that fourth quarter. Shout out to the Cavs. Listen, I know there's a bunch of injuries and I know stuff like that, but they're a fun team to watch no matter what.
I wish you would have I wish you would have told us. First of all, the glasses and the laughing emojis from Ray was for Cavalanche. We need to make those on a shirt immediately. I'm going to get in touch with Austin. While I'm here, and I'll give Austin a shout out right now. Go on your Instagram and search Create Your Own Wave. Shout out to my guy, Austin. He got his own clothing brand. Spoiler alert. Yes, we are working. Yes. We are working on a collab for an official Straub Bro Sports Show shirt. I'm giving some spoilers out. But Cavalanche, that is amazing. I don't even remember what you were talking about. No, I do. Yeah, that is amazing. Shout out a participation trophy Straub Bro of the week to your Bearcats who hit that over and covered for me. I appreciate that. Yeah, I did ask you about that. But yeah,
34 free throws to 11, by the way, against us. I'm not going to start. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh my goodness.
Terrible.
Absolutely. The real D Wade. Yeah, Dean Wade.
We had both of them on our team.
Absolutely on fire. So I'll get the obvious Straub Bro of the week from me out of the way now. Caitlin Clark passes Pete Maravich for first all-time NCAA leading scorer, men or women. She did that in a good game against Ohio State where she finished with 35, 9, and 6. I do want to throw this little tidbit because this kind of topped it off to kind of finish up this continued streak of Caitlin Clark. 4 million viewers, becoming the highest rated women's regular season game since 1999. What was that game? UConn versus Tennessee. Who have we been talking about? Gino Auriemma and the late, great Pat Summitt. So shout out to the late, great Pat Summitt. Shout out to that UConn and Tennessee. When women's basketball was dominated by these two teams, it's now dominated by these new girls, and one of them being Caitlin Clark. So shout out to her. Now that that's over, they can focus on making on a kind of a team run now that that individual success and spotlight is kind of out of the way. My second Straub Bro of the week. LSU's Angel Reese. Yeah, give me the ring. You can't see me. SEC Player of the Year. Shout out to her. And my third, Homer, absolute Homer pick. Play like a champion today.
3?
Yes. Freshman Hannah Hidalgo of my Notre Dame Fighting Irish, your ACC Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. Go Irish. And I cannot wait to watch these girls make a run into March. Are you going? No, I'm finishing. And yeah,
got another?
Yeah, I got 4. Yeah, 4.
Oh my God.
Last but not least, and I'm going to shove some more footy in front before we get to the footy. My last Straub Bro of the week, AFC Wimbledon. Stay with me, everybody. Established in 1889. We've got some history with this club here. They played in throughout England into the Premier League. They were unfortunately relegated from the Premier League in 1999 in the 2000 season, and that's where the problems really began. They needed to upgrade facilities. They could not. And due to those stadium issues, the owners who took over moved the team to Milton Keynes, another city, because of a more modern football stadium that was promised to be built. So the team was moved and renamed Milton Keynes Dons Football Club, or as many of us know now, MK Dons. So what you know is the club was stolen from them, Cleveland Browns style. Cleveland fans, you know all about this. So in return, Wimbledon supporters, and I have their names, Chris Stewart, Mark Jones, and Trevor Williams, restarted the club with their own money, and AFC Wimbledon were born again. Now, they have literally gone from the very, very bottom of non-league football. So far at the bottom that you're playing without any money and any kind of fanfare for the most part, and facilities and anything like that. But they have clawed and climbed all the way back up to League Two, where if you follow us on the show or if you follow Wrexham, Ray, they play with not just Wrexham in League Two, but AFC Wimbledon play in League Two with MK Dons. Yes, the club that was stolen from them. Well, they played a week ago, this past week. And it was a 0-0, very intense game when AFC Wimbledon was playing at home until the magic of extra time. In the 94th minute, Ronan Curtis scored the winner for Wimbledon at home, and the place, like when you say it went crazy, it went nuts, you know, I can't do it justice. Please go Google AFC Wimbledon versus MK Dons. It is worth it. The scenes were nuts because for the first time that you could actually put facts and money on, those fans were celebrating what they did. The club would be dead and no longer if those fans did not help and put money in and make their team and will their team through. So to see them celebrate, one of the players picked up the ball boy in the corner when they were all celebrating with the fans. It is amazing. Go Google it. I know I'm telling you to go look up things that are outside of our show. I don't care. I don't care if you had to pause right now to go do it. Go do it. It is amazing to watch. So they are my final, and it was worth it. My fourth Straub Bro of the week. We'll get the good stuff out of there because now you are going to end it.
No, listen. Fair enough. That was a good way to end it because I got chills watching that, and I've watched it like 3 separate times.
It's amazing. It really is. Like I said, AFC Wimbledon versus MK Dons. It's great. Google it. Give the people. Come on.
Yes. So you ended on a super high one. I'm going to end on a kind of a somber one, but more of a celebration of a career. It had been mentioned for a while, but it is finally confirmed via press conference. Jason Kelce is retiring. Jason Kelce was born in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, went to their high school, and had 0 D1 offers leaving high school. Decided to walk on at the University of Cincinnati under former Bearcat and former Notre Dame head coach Brian Kelly, where he did not play center until his senior year in college. Kelce was drafted in the 6th round by the Eagles under then coach Andy Reid, and I'm going to read you his draft analysis really quick. Kelce's upside is limited by his frame. However, he has the quickness, toughness, and enough football intelligence to develop into an effective reserve who can provide depth and guard and center. Now, as we all know, Jason Kelce did much more than this. He played for 12 years in the NFL, averaged 96% of his snaps he started. He is a 7-time Pro Bowler, a 6-time All-Pro, and above all, a Super Bowl champion. He is retiring as one of the best centers in the game. I wish him well. He is an awesome person to listen to on his podcast along with his brother. He is a great person, and I wish him nothing but the best in his retirement. I know Ken really is glad that he is retiring as a Dallas Cowboys fan. He probably just doesn't really care. However, I wish him well, and he is my other Straub Bro of the week.
Well said, bro. I'm not going to do what you and many think I will do. So first of all, as an athlete, I hate you, Travis. Go or Jason, go away. Not in an actual real way, but get off the football field. I'm tired of you and your Eagles. Go away. Because you were a beast. You're a monster, and you deserve it. I do want to give a shout out to the way those things kind of connected with our show as well. He goes to Cincinnati. He falls in love with being a Bearcat. He falls in love with that campus and that university. A story I know very well because someone else did it as well. I remember the text I got from when you were there. You were sold on it, I think, before you got 5 miles out. And that's fine. And I love you for it, and I love it for it. The Brian Kelly connection into Notre Dame. Love that there. Andy Reid being the one who drafted him, who then gets his brother and turns his brother into a superstar as well. The Cleveland Heights to Cleveland connection. We're not going to do that today. He doesn't deserve that. To be able to see the podcast, I've more than tuned in a couple times. A guy at work watches them all the time. It's fun. His wife is hilarious as well. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I send the little interactions that they have together to mine. She will never come on the pod. She's already made that very clear that that's not happening, everybody. So that's okay. But because it's funny when she comes on and she kind of has those little jokes with them. Shout out to you, Jason. You deserve it. I mean, look. Here I'm gonna the brother thing means a lot in this family and to us. So to see them do a podcast together, we can do a podcast together. I won't poo-poo on this Jason Kelsey moment. So shout out to you.
And real quick, he also allowed his trainer to tape up his ankles for his press conference because he wasn't able to do it in his last game because his trainer went to go get chemo. So an awesome person that, just another moment there.
Like some of the stuff that we go back and forth with about funny stuff about when we mess with them has nothing to do with anything in real life. Like I said, when I read that tugged on the heartstrings, that was awesome. So yeah, you're good. Honorary Straub Bros of the week. There was only like 7 of them this week, but that's okay.
More than half were yours. I'm just gonna say.
Hey, that's all right. That's all right. Now it's time to do it. It's time to get into the footy. We had some Champions League. The first round, or I should say, first half of the semi or quarterfinal rounds here are over with. The second legs, Bayern Munich came back and did what we all feared that they would do, which is win and beat up on Lazio 3-1 on aggregate. 2 Harry Kane goals and a Thomas Muller goal to beat Lazio and come back. Mbappe fired PSG past Real Sociedad. Manchester City went through easily against Copenhagen. We will talk about those people later. And then Real Madrid, it was a tight one, but they advanced over RB Leipzig. Anything stands out there to you, obviously, other than Byron?
I would say Bayern, unfortunately, did what they did, so that's there. RB Leipzig really held in there, tried to come back, but unfortunately, Real Madrid, that team is just built to win tournaments. And so they kind of got the raw end of the stick there. Good team, but not enough to get past them.
The best way to describe Real Madrid in the Champions League is kind of like a Michigan State or a North Carolina in the NCAA tournament. They're always going to be there. They're always going to be there.
The second LeBron stint in Cleveland. Doesn't matter what they're doing anywhere else. Once it hits go time, they're almost impossible to beat.
Absolutely. So we have another round coming up in about a week or two. We will cover those more as they get closer, and we will kind of give you some preview mixed in when we're talking about all of the college basketball. So we will switch it over to the English Premier League, the one we talk about the most. And we're going to switch it up a little bit this week, and it's going to be a new theme kind of in the soccer. We're going to steal from the MLS one, which we're going to show you results. And instead of me just boringly reading through them, we're going to kind of pick 1 or 2 a piece that really, really appeal to us. And then we will talk about some other kind of funny stuff in between. So I'm going to go first. I took Arsenal 6, Sheffield United 0. And I mean, damn, how many weeks have we come in here now and said, damn, Arsenal, like, damn, multiple big performances throughout the year, just like this. Like it's worth talking about. It is the amount of times we've come in here and been like, wow, they have done this, beat people, but dominated them. Martin Odegaard, Jalen Bogle own goal, but then Gabriel Martinelli, Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, Ben White. You know it's a dangerous, and you know it was a blowout when I talk about Kai Havertz and Ben White getting on the score sheet. And I'm going to do some anti-American abroads. I'm sorry, and I apologize, but American Austin Trusty did not have a good game. Saka just absolutely destroyed him on the wing multiple times, and one specifically on one of those goals. But any thoughts to throw in there on Arsenal's absolute domination of Sheffield United?
Still third in the table.
Very good point. I'm just hey,
I'm gonna listen.
Hold on. No. I asked you to give me your point, and I gave you your point.
I gotta stay a hater. Listen, all right. The agenda will stick until the end of the season. I don't care.
Well, should we spoil how we split the games in the EPL this week?
No, keep going.
Okay, well then you go next. You go with your first one because I think it'll give it away.
Yeah, Liverpool 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Now, listen, Nottingham Forest defended so well for 90 minutes and 8 minutes of the stoppage time. But they really didn't have anything going forward. They had one missed chance early on in the game. So this was either going to be a draw or a Liverpool win. Unfortunately for Ken and for Forest fans, on the last corner of the game for Liverpool, they decided to try to dribble it out of the box instead of clearing it. Liverpool took it back, crossed it in, and Darwin Nunez headed home the winning goal in the 9th minute of added time. An absolute devastating blow for Nottingham Forest, trying to stay up in the Premier League. But Liverpool scraping and clawing, staying on top of the league. Ken, do you have a point on this?
Yeah, there was 8 minutes of stoppage time. They scored in the 9th. Cheats, whatever. Yeah, okay. So I'll take the next one. Luton Town 2, Aston Villa 3. This was a tough one. Former Straub Bro of the Week recipient, Ali, goal double. I'll give him his own love. Ali Watkins got Villa ahead with his first half double, 24th and 38-minute goals, respectively. But Luton Town come back out of the first half and absolutely start to dominate in the second half. One goal from former Manchester United winger Taith Chong after a wild scramble and pinball in the box, and then one from Carlton Morris off a beautiful free kick, and Luton Town were there, ready. I had already had the tie bet locked in on Bet365 when they went down 2-0. Yes, that's how much I believed in Luton at the time. And I locked in a winner. Of course I did. Live action money lines, baby. Let's go. And then, yeah, pressing. Aston Villa would break not only Luton hearts, but my wallets when Lucas Deeg made a great back post run and won it in the 89th minute.
That's Luton this season, man. Many late or stoppage time goals to either not get a draw or to get a loss instead of a win. It's been rough.
It's my parlays this year.
Yeah.
I need college football back so bad. You guys have no idea. Your turn, because I'm not. I need a second.
Yes, this one was kind of interesting. West Ham 3, Everton 1. Now the scoreline looks pretty lopsided. However, Everton really dominated this first half and should have had more than one goal, but a penalty save by West Ham goalkeeper Areola right before halftime kept it level. Unfortunately, I left him on my bench in Fantasy Premier League, which didn't help me either. However, early on in the second half, Everton would score. Unfortunately for them, West Ham within 3 minutes scored right back, so we were right back to level. Things would stay level until 2 stoppage time goals by West Ham would steal all 3 points from Everton, as the Toffees could not build on their point reduction being reduced earlier in the week.
Yeah, I mean, the rooting for Everton is tough, and I have a lot more on Everton, so I'm saving some of this. Not necessarily not making a point back to you, but I'll kind of have more on Everton later. But I mean, I got to give love to the fact that West Ham have kind of rebounded from some really up and down performances and have kind of start to put a couple good ones together. So,
Do you want me to go next?
yeah, you go ahead and go next, and I guess I could. Oh, I have to end. This is great. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we're gonna go back and forth on our teams now.
Where's Sean?
He's gonna be in there. Don't worry. He's always snooping around.
Lurking somewhere.
Chelsea 2, Brentford 2.
Yeah, I did laugh at you.
Now you should not be starting. There he is. Now, bicycle kick aside, our defending was atrocious. Um, Thiago Silva, our key defender, was missed. Other defenders like Badiashile and Fofana are continuing to be out, really isn't helping. The attack is finally starting to get itself together, but injuries are continuing to hurt us. And this continues a up and down season of either our attack or our defending, letting us down and continuing to make us drop points in games that we should be winning. So, yeah, Chelsea, I love you, but you hurt a lot as of late.
You don't know hurt. All right, so I guess it's my turn then. What a depressing and our EPL portion of the pod we've got going on here. All right, so I guess that's my turn. Yeah, Manchester City 3, Manchester United 1. Mama, cover your ears for a second. Fuck off. All of you. All right, Sean, we're gonna have a nice little discussion here. Honestly, this was a literal tale of two halves. We tucked in, we sat back, and we defended very well in the first half. We communicated, guys worked for each other, they covered runs, they tracked back. When we got pinned in, we moved it quickly. We got the ball out wide to Garnacho, to Bruno Fernandez. We got it out to McTominay, Rashford, and then Rashford in a stroke of absolute brilliance. An amazing shot, and we were up 1-0. Yes, we were pinned back, but we had chances in that first half to go up 2-0 at least before Erling Haaland did something in the first half that he's probably not done very many times, and that's miss an absolute sitter, an absolute point blank shot in front of goal. Defensively, I'm not even gonna lie, that first half was one of the best halves we have played, not because we were pinned back and just getting pinballed on a couple occasions. The communication, the fluidity, the way we were as a team, it was amazing. And then the halftime whistle blew. We were playing to the weakness of Manchester City. Manchester City, when they are attacking and when they are on offense, and I have a Manchester City fan in the comments, so we'll bring him in if he tells me I'm wrong here. They get a bit out of formation more than other teams when they are moving and attacking the ball. It's the way Pep Guardiola's system works. But when it is working, they win 17 Premier League titles in a row, or however many exactly it is, like we're in so many years. When you can and you have the talent to be able to counter them with quality, you can do what we have done to them on multiple occasions, and that is beat them. And yes, and you as well. So yes, and as I say, Sean is not. He says I'm not wrong. So there's somebody who thinks at least I know it a little bit when I'm talking about it comes in terms of the footy. But they get out of position. They get moving. So you can cut them and you can attack them and you can get to them. But yeah, then the second half, City just played keep ball for 45 minutes. It literally looked like a training session that I have been a part of in college, where you don't take the ball, you just pressure and stay with the man or with your man so that the offense can move the ball, work on certain things. And then I've also played ones, where I played first team versus second team at Notre Dame College, the now defunct Notre Dame College, and was up top for the second team where I had a chance. I clipped it over one defender. I tried to get in, slide in. I could barely get a shot off because obviously it's first team versus second team. I think that chance was more than we got all the entire second half against City. Yeah. I think that was more than United gave City in the second half, like I just said. Foden, a great strike. a phenomenal hit, and then a great run after a pass into the box, and he finishes the second one. At that point, we were done. Holland puts away the third, and he puts us away. I'm going to be a bit critical of the substitutions, but at the same time, it's so hard. I mean, he took off Johnny Evans for Willie Kambala, and I mean, who else was? What were we going to do? What were we going to do? Evans was gassed. We don't have anything on the bench. I will say you could have dropped Casemiro in at center back. You could have put Emmerbat there too. But then he brings on Anthony for Rashford. I mean, to try in some way to justify the fact that we paid that man that much money. I think it should have been Dalio there to be there. To be honest, still overrated. I'm not even sure which one you're talking about.
He's mentioning how I called Phil Foden overrated last week, and you know what?
Yeah, you're gonna have
The
to use
agenda's
that
still
one.
going. I fully admit, but the agenda's still running. I still think he's overrated in terms of how Manchester City fans view him, but I will acknowledge this loss on this one.
Yeah, you're on your own. I'm gonna take my butt whooping humbly. No. Like I said, he brought on Anthony. I thought it should have been Dalio there. He brings off Garnacho on for Forsen once again. That should have been Dalio at some point. Amrabat comes on for Kobe Mano. Like, I don't know. Like, I just he needs to go back as well off of loan. So yeah, congratulations to all 115 goals. I mean, financial fair play charges that you have Manchester City. Congratulations. I'm not bitter. I do want to say something.
I'm gonna humbly take my loss, Ken. Is that right?
I want to bring something up because I want Sean's honest opinion here too. This golf in class garbage that all of a sudden has popped up because I'm tired of it. A world class strike, okay, and a run put us up. Okay, yeah, I got you. Okay, you dominated. You did. I gave you that. We were without two players, and I know everybody's without players. But in terms of what our United season has been, we were without two players in Lisandro Martinez and Rasmus Højlund that are not just keys. They have been the reason we were playing well. When Martinez is on the back, that defense is better. When Rasmus Højlund is up top now, he's been a goal-scoring machine. I know Rashford had one, but I feel like Højlund up there scores one of those goals and maybe get it up. We were playing Victor Lindelof at left back because we currently don't have a left back, okay? And we only have one right back healthy, okay? We don't have a left back. We're playing a center back there, who I have to give Victor some credit to because he's literally played center back. He's played center defensive mid and a holding mid when Casemiro's been hurt and Christian Eriksen's been hurt. Do you remember when I was excited that we signed Christian Eriksen? Do you remember that time? I don't. So, yeah, that's how I feel about it. Congratulations.
All right, I think that's enough of that.
Okay, let's move on to this next week. Drew, we have a fun one.
Yes, and also, we're going with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry. I know I switched it up on you. But yeah, we'll go to the preview and then where were you going?
No, that works.
Okay. Drew, we have one of the fun games. We have our first one of these. The first round of Dad versus one of us. Newcastle and Chelsea.
Yeah, it's not on there because I wanted to speak on this directly, but yeah, this is it's an interesting one. Chelsea, being very much down in the dumps after back-to-back losses in a cup final to Liverpool and a draw to a very much, I'm going to say, bad Brentford team because they've lost a lot of games lately, and Newcastle, who could show up and score 4 or could give up 4. So that is a tough matchup, but I think that if I'm going to be objective here, the only games that Chelsea show up for are games that are actually against decent opponents. And so Newcastle being a decent opponent, I think a good showing from Chelsea is in the works. A win, I don't know, but a good performance, I say yes.
This is it could not be any more of which this is the theme for both of our games, honestly, this week. Which one of your teams shows up? Like, yeah. Newcastle absolutely have the talent, and when they're at home, like, to be able to show flashes of that team that finished in, around that third, fourth, and got into the Champions League and showed all the promise. But they're not. You're favored, which is, you're in 11th place. You drew at Brentford last week. They're ahead of you, and you're still favored because that's how much, if you think you've been up and down, Newcastle has been. You have to be ready, though, because because you're right for the picking when you have an off day and one of those clubs kind of gets a bit full of you and wants to kind of take Chelsea out. So we would see, I guess that would lean kind of more towards a draw, but I'm kind of actually leaning more towards a 2-1, 3-2 Chelsea victory.
See, yeah, but like that's the thing is, unfortunately, with how we've been playing, I can see any result. I could see a blow. Well, other than us blowing them out, but I could see a blowout to Newcastle. I could see a close win to Newcastle. I can see a draw, and then I could see a close Chelsea win. All of these are possible just because I've seen it with every single opponent every single week. So I like to believe that a good performance is coming, but it could be 3 or 4-1 Newcastle by halftime, and we're like, well, yeah, okay, that checks out because we're just so crazy.
Yeah. No, but yeah, either way, I think it'll be an exciting game. That's for sure. I think
Yeah.
multiple goals, 100% for sure.
Now let's talk about two of those bolded games.
No, we will in a second because I'm going to get mine out of the way, and then we'll get to those two bolded games.
Okay.
Manchester United versus Everton. Wayne Rooney will be in the house. Oh, excuse me for this
Put him
one
up top.
for Sky Fox Sports. Obviously, his boyhood club of Everton, where he grew up and became a young talent, and then the one where he became a Premier League legend and won everything that there was to win.
Put him
The
at the
problem,
9, baby.
what?
Put him at the 9. You need him.
I have no problem. Let's go sign him up and let's go right now. I have no problems with that. The problem is, like I said, you have no idea which one of these teams will show up. As I said, I had more on Everton. They've been up and down. And remember, we have been pulling for them, and we've been kind of like, hey, we want them to get out of relegation because they were unfairly punished, especially when Manchester 115 count City is still running wild. But either way, they're still they're 16th now, and if you can throw up the table for me, that'd be nice.
Yes.
They're 16th now. They would be 14th if you gave them all their points back. So it's not like we took them out of Europe. We thought they were unfairly punished, but they're still up and down and all over the place. And then when you talk about that, I mean, think about who you're talking about. I watch everything, obviously, that we talk about. I dive in, we study, we work a lot. But I couldn't tell you for the life of me, because I watch this United team with more passion than I probably watch anything. I can't tell you which team is going to show up this weekend. I mean, it's obviously after the first half that we had against City, you could hold the champions to that. You can play like that. You mix that with how you played in the second half. And like this should be, you should be angry. You should have an amazing performance, intensity for the whole game. The Garnacho wonder goal in the first couple minutes of the first Everton game on the road. You should have all of this on your mind. But this team could easily come out lazy, lay an egg, run through the motions, as club legend Roy Keane loves to criticize them for, and talk about them doing all the time, because they do this against weaker sides all the bleeping time. So if they play that first half against City, in terms of that, not the defensive way, but in terms of playing for each other, they'll effing blow Everton out of the water. But I literally don't know. But in the meantime, still give me United to bounce back 3-1.
I love it.
And I want to point something out else. United. I know I'm United heavy here. I've read some things in the papers that reps for top free agent managers and some with jobs already have reached out to Manchester United because of the belief that Sir Radcliffe might release Eric Ten Hag of his duties before next season begins. I'm going to be honest, no comment at this time. I don't know anymore. The reason I'm going to say I don't know is because I'm tired of manager roulette. You are at Chelsea. I know you are. And the thing that sucks for both of us is we have to give it to not Tottenham, not Spurs, because we don't have to give them credit for anything, but they're our other big six buddies, because they did it the right way and it's worked. Klopp was given time. Pep was given 115 violations to work with, and time and money and all the best players. Arsenal have given Arteta a 7th finish, no Champions League,
for like 4 years in a row.
Right. Newcastle have stayed the course with Eddie Howe. Even though in a year like this, there have been plenty of teams that would have removed him as manager. Villa with Unai Emery now, what he's being allowed to build to do. So it's tough because I don't know if Ten Hag is the right guy right now. Because for 45 minutes, he proved he was. In Pep's house, he was defeating Pep and frustrating Pep that he was crying and dancing to the fourth official. And then in the second half, it looked like I could have been out there coaching. So I don't know anymore. And I'm done talking about my team.
All right. So let's move on to 2 matches that involve 4 of the top 5 teams in the league. I got it.
Thank you. And that would be Tottenham at Aston Villa. That is a massive, massive game.
Yes, 4 versus 5. Tottenham, always a little shaky. They did beat Crystal Palace last week. They are kind of in a weird spot where they don't have enough to jump Aston Villa if they win, but they don't have, and I guess Manchester United doesn't have enough to jump them if they lose. So it's kind of it's a tone setter for the rest of the season for each of these clubs, because this is basically what are you going to do for the rest of the season? Are you going to stick in, and are you going to fight for at least your spot, if not more? Or are you going to kind of just be like, well, we tried for a title, now we're kind of running out of gas and slowly slip out of that? This is a massive game.
Absolutely. And a big shout out to you, Ray. Thanks for rocking with us. Love yours as always. Yeah, it's massive. Number 1, Spurs. We've criticized you. Everybody's criticized you. Are you going to get yourself in the Champions League? Are you gonna make a run that you can finish the season strong? And Aston Villa, can this rebuild or so continue under Unai Emery? What he's doing at the club, the way he's bringing in his, playing his brand of football, the way he does it. Can that continue? Like this is a major statement game, like you said, for both squads, for both clubs. It's who is going to, I guess, kind of ride that momentum into this last third of the these last couple games here, as we get in here, and it's time to crown a champion. It's time to kind of separate those spots away in the Champions League, like you talked about. A game in hand for Spurs over everybody, or everyone around them, excluding Manchester United. They can put a real gap between us. They really can. But then if they lose and they slip up, here we come. And you know what I mean? Villa, they're trying to still close in on the top 3. That's a little bit tougher, but they're not that far away. So yeah, massive one for them, for both squads, like we said, but that's not the only one. And that would be the game of the weekend. Liverpool and Manchester City. Like I said, the fixture of the weekend, as you see on the table, and I want to immediately put that back up because that's the important part. Number 1 versus number 2. We've got to talk about it. I will say this for my first point. Liverpool like to concede early and chase the rest of the game. You will get run off of the pitch. You will look like us in the second half if you think that you can play like that and spot City a goal or two and think that you're going to chase them down like that. And I absolutely agree with Sean is saying. This one might be for the title.
Yeah, no, listen. And it's weird because, yes, they are top of the table, they are top of the league, but none of them have looked like their dominant selves as of late. Yes, they beat you, but for that first 45 minutes, they looked very, very beatable and very, very weak. Liverpool had to go to added time to beat us in a cup final, who is sitting 11th. They had to need a late goal to beat almost relegation position Nottingham Forest. Both teams are kind of living on the edge here. And I think this is going to be, honestly, and unfortunately, this is going to be a very slow building game. I don't think either team is going to go out and try to outclass the other in the first half. It is going to be a slow slog. It is going to be like a cup final where both teams do not want to lose this, but then near the end is going to start to get good. And this is when either a Darwin Nunez, an Erling Haaland, a Luis Diaz, a Phil Foden, a Kevin De Bruyne someone there is going to have to make the goal, the shot to put this team ahead. Do I know which one? I have no idea. But this is a game where you lean on your stars, and this is kind of how it's going to go.
Yeah. I do want to. I want to say, to your first point, I absolutely believe it's going to be somewhat treated like a cup final there. You gave the kind of negative aspect, so I'm going to flip it on you because you said, hey, Forest 11, or Forest are 17th in the table and late to win. Yeah, they didn't look great in the first half. That's not how Klopp and that's not how Pep will look at it. So this is how it'll be in each one of those locker rooms. Which of these two teams can ride the momentum of a late stoppage time winner, all of that excitement, or 3 second half goals in your inner city derby to beat your city rival, and you know what I mean, and to come back like that to win that game. So both of those things are going to ride momentum in each of those locker rooms, in each of those dressing rooms. A late stoppage time winner like that is going to have the guys riding high. Beating your inner city rival in that absolutely will give you a high. No, you're absolutely right. I like your second comment better. We absolutely all hate Liverpool here, and I know you want us to root for City, but I was not humbled that much. I am absolutely still rooting for Arsenal to come back and clip both of you. I will take the lesser of all three evils there.
So Sean knows as a Chelsea. Well, also you're rooting for this game to end in a 0-0 somehow. Like no points for either team. Somehow that working.
Yeah, can we get it postponed?
Right. But so Sean knows I'm a Chelsea fan, and he has enough knowledge to know that my rankings for like who I don't want to win a Premier League title goes Arsenal, Tottenham, and then the team that's won 4 out of the last 5 Premier League titles. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I would take Liverpool winning over Manchester City in terms of the title, just as a Chelsea fan. I'm like, I get it that you want to have some sympathy because you haven't been able to have one after, your treble last year. So let's pump the brakes. You are still pretty hated around here. Just, relax.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, no love for Liverpool, but there ain't no love for 115 City either. I like that actually. Manchester 115 City in the empty hat has a nice little ring to it. But yeah. All right. Hoy, that was a tough week in terms of EPL there. So we're gonna switch over. We're gonna switch over where I was much happier. Oh, and yes. And I have some other breaking news on the pod. I can't say when, just because listen, funds go around in different ways. I'm buying the away jersey. I was sold on it. I'm in on it. So I'm buying the away jersey as well. But it is time to talk about some MLS. Yes, you see the Galaxy jersey on. I'm going to start with thank you for the graphic, good sir. As you see, like we talked about the MLS graphic, you'll see the team that won highlighted in their respective color. I'm not a big fan of Drew's colors this week. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm call you out on the pod there. Your reds are a little too close.
There was 3 different red teams that won this week. I don't know what you want from me. Okay?
And then all of the gray are your draw. I'm gonna start with one of those draws myself. Not my draws. My draws are clean. Minnesota steal a point from the Columbus Crew with a 95th minute equalizer.
I'm glad.
I know, like why, Ken? I have no idea. Equalizer from Tony Alawasi.
What now, Sean? Sean, you gonna type in the chat now, Sean, about your draw? You've been talking this whole time, even last week when Cincinnati drew. Come on, I want to hear you.
I love the calling out here on the pod. That Tony Alawasu goal canceled out. Cucho, right? Cucho. Hernandez's 59th minute goal that the Crew thought would be enough. Minnesota hired a coach 3 days before the season started. Now I understand he was a Manchester United coach, so he's obviously comes from footballing royalty and genius and smarts. But this is still surprising to hit the ground running, though. 0 hiccups, 4 points out of that. I do also, there's only a few times that you get to do that, so enjoy it while it lasts. Yeah, Sean's back at you. I do also want to say that it was worth noting. A great game and performance from Aiden Morris. okay efforts from Will Trapp and Caden Clark of Minnesota. So, I mean, some kind of, some United States men's national team kind of things to keep on. More on the United States men's national team players coming up then. You go ahead and you throw a result in yourself, sir.
Yes, you know what? If you went for a draw, I'm going to go for a draw. Chicago 2, Philly Union 2. Now listen, Philadelphia had absolutely every opportunity to win this game. They had 2 goals ruled for offsides. They had another one off the post. But Chicago, and especially 20-year-old American Brian Gutierrez, who had a golazo and an assist, went punch for punch with this strong Philly team and got a very impressive point. To put note on this, Chicago was 6th worst in the league in goals last season. So having a threat like Gutierrez finally starting to come through alongside Shaqiri is a massive boost for this club. So that's 2 good results for Chicago. Let's see if they can continue it. It is still a young team, but this is a very impressive result for them.
I'm with you. I'm going to have fun with this one. Real Salt Lake 3, LAFC 0. My second favorite result of the week. They played in a damn blizzard. They played in a blizzard after the game was originally stopped because of lightning, and then the blizzard came through.
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazingly awful to watch. It was beyond chaotic. LFC had 0 answers for playing in this weather. Andreas Gomez stepped in and took a ball from a defender who then fell in the snow. He finished around Hugo Lloris. Lloris had a huge, that is what the game is. Snow.
It was amazing.
I
love to watch it.
It was absolutely so amazing. Shout out to Hugo Lloris, ex-Tottenham goalkeeper, for number 1 getting scored on. Number 2, who also had comments this week that he knew how to drive around LA because he had played enough Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, you and the rest of us, Hugo Lloris. I know how to get around LA too. I'd be driving to buildings that I own complexes in that I don't own in real life.
That's incredible.
Andreas Gomez then scored his second when Campos misplayed another ball. He was the defender who fell over in the snow, leading to another goal. Christian Arango then made it 3, and that was it for Real Salt Lake in the first half, and that was pretty much it for the game. LAFC would hit the post a couple times, Drew's favorite Aaron Long being one of those guys who hit the post, and then they took all 3 points. All right, your last one?
Yes. So this one I wouldn't have had last week because I was disappointed, but I have this week. Toronto 1, New England Revolution 0. Now, last year Toronto was a dumpster fire. Anytime they would lose the possession battle, they were losing. But John Herdman, ex-Canadian men's national team head coach, has turned their weaknesses into massive strengths. New England Revolution had 64% of the possession compared to 36, had 23 total shots versus 8 shots from Toronto, and 6 shots on target to 2 shots from Toronto. Toronto is going to be a counter-attacking, ultra-defending team, and it is going to be gritty, and it is going to be fun. It's one of those teams that every team is going to hate to play. And you saw it last week in Cincinnati, and you saw it this week. Lorenzo Insigne, along with Bernadetsky, who got the assist on this, scored in the 27th minute. One of the most expensive players in the MLS. And then they just sat back and ate up all of New England's attacks. Sean Johnson had man of the match with 6 saves. He faced basically 2 X goals on target for those that want to get nerdy about it. But this Toronto team is going to be a pain in the butt week after week, and it's kind of fun to watch.
Absolutely. I love that they've taken the full Canada approach with hiring former Canadian men's national team coach. Can we talk about New England? And you made great points. I don't need to back up any of it. You killed them. I just want to make fun of the New England Revolution for having the worst celebration pregame wise of all time. They are taking a cube that is supposed to look like tea and they have the opposing team's logo on it, and they're throwing it over, like throwing tea into the. It's just awful.
It's
I'm
like
glad.
us with the guitar. It's
No,
so
no, it's not even close.
outdated.
It's not even. It's not even close. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is at least recent. The Boston Tea Party. Come on, dude. You've got to be kidding
I
me.
mean, they are the revolution, so I kind of
I
understand it.
Are we even
It's
allowed?
just,
Never mind. I
it's
was
just
gonna say.
super like corny, and it's just bad.
Yeah, sure. Just moving on. Are you done?
At least for the teams that were not our teams.
Then go ahead. Talk about your. Go ahead. I'm finishing. I'm ending the
Of course
MLS
you are.
segment today,
Of
baby.
course you are.
Talk about
So,
FC Cincinnati.
unlike the other Ohio team,
Woo.
Cincinnati 2, Chicago Fire 1. That is more like it. Much better performances in the attacking third. As we've come to see, Lucho Acosta, man of the match, a goal from Pupenza, Miles Robinson showing his worth offensively as well as defensively. And we are now adding another United States men's national team veteran in DeAndre Yedlin, who is going to strengthen our attack on the wing and be an absolute key piece. We are also getting another player back off of injury, which is a massive, massive role there. Sean, listen, keep talking. That was 3 months ago. It's a whole new season. I don't want to hear it. Okay.
Johnson will give you PTSD from last year's playoffs.
Cincinnati back on the right track, tied for second in the league now at 4 points. Let's keep it rolling.
Absolutely. Good win for you. Good to see you getting back on the winning track there as well. And now for your result of the weekend. You see it highlighted there in the beautiful yellow and gold. The LA Galaxy 3, San Jose Earthquakes 1, a little California battle we had going on. And I would like to talk about my guy, Ricky Pooch. This is why you were at Barca, baby. Okay? All right? Yes, everybody is tied for second. He's very, very, very true. But
is New England tied for second?
But it's my
Because I
Galaxy.
think they have 0 points. So just saying.
But back to the important stuff. This is why you were at Barcelona, Ricky Pooch.
Yeah.
Okay, this game proved it. Okay, why? Joseph Pancil, first of all, got it started with his first MLS goal. With a absolute great finish. Dejan Jolovic with another great easy tap-in finish after another Pancil run, which he absolutely torched his defender. And then in the theme here, as you see, Pancil scored, then he assisted. Jolovic made a great cutback pass, feeding the ball to Ricky Pooch, who had been screaming at him. Literally, it was in the highlight, and I heard it. It was screaming at him all night to give him the ball, but he wanted it. And that was 3-0. 3-0, and that was boom, and that was game, set, match, even though San Jose would get a consolation goal after a unlucky deflection landed in front of a San Jose player. But Pooch dominated this game everywhere. He was everywhere. He was a maestro in the midfield. A great performance by my Galaxy. And like I said, I've decided to order the away jersey. That is scary because that will now tie the LA Galaxy with. Actually, that would be 3 Galaxy jerseys if you include David Beckham's. So that would technically be more than the United States men's national team and United. That's scary thoughts.
Yeah.
But yeah, a great performance by my Galaxy and why I think we'll be a playoff team.
Very well done.
Okay. Your next upcoming week for the MLS.
Yes.
Couple things to throw at you. One that excited me. I love the updated graphic. Ooh, man, it gets tough when some of those teams have those same color schemes. But
dude, it's so hard. It's so hard.
I know it is, but I still love this thing because you kind of get to see, versus and some matchups. Real Salt Lake versus Colorado. Your first kind of real rivalry matchup kind of going on there. My LA Galaxy play Nashville. 2 draws for Nashville, so they're going to be hungry for 3 points. But my Galaxy are out of this world right now.
Ooh, wow, that was a good one. That
was awful.
You
want to talk about Cincinnati real quick?
Yeah, well, we got a Champions League game this week against Brandon Vasquez led Monterrey in LAMX tomorrow. And we have a game against DC United, a very, very decent team. So it's going to be a tough challenge because they seem to be picking it up. So that'll be a tough one.
Just to want to throw it out there, I like that Messi anytime goal against Montreal.
Of course.
100%.
Suarez anytime goal, honestly, is a nice one too.
Yeah, I don't do that. No, thank you. We'll see if we'll see Columbus Crew Chicago Fire. That is a good matchup as well. And then we will see if San Jose can bounce back. And then we will also see how Minnesota continues to fare as they take on Orlando City as well. And that will do it for the MLS. But we have a little bit of fun. Obviously, everybody knows what is next. It is time for Americans abroad. But we're going to have some fun, a.k.a. I get to piss off little bro, and he gets to rant. We're going to talk about the list, bro, so we're already going to get over it. There was a writer for ESPN. I apologize. I should give him credit because we're
no, he doesn't. He doesn't deserve any credit.
Oh, wow. Because we're going to absolutely eviscerate his list. But he came up with the top 50 United States men's national team, or just players who could be playing for the United States men's national team, but a top 50 list
that are in form. That is the key point. It's not like a top 50 of like these are the best run. It is a in form list. It is a what is currently the best like playing people, not talent wise, but how they are performing.
I can't even get to the list. No. His name is Ryan O'Hanlon. He's an ESPN.com writer. Yes. The United States men's national team player performance index. So without further ado, here it is. Now, obviously, you will see some things. Obviously, I didn't go through teams because that would have been a humongous list, but I put in their names and obviously the positions that they play. There's a very obvious number one, which is Christian Pulisic, which is fine. He's completely on form at at AC Milan. He's been a great player there. He's had a good year. Weston McKennie, he's playing outstanding for Juventus. Serginho Dest and Anton Robinson, we talk in, week out. But that's kind of where this ends. So without further ado, the flamethrower is yours.
Okay. I'm going to take this off because I'm going to get sweaty from yelling so much. Give me.
Thank you. And Tyler got it before we even could, but go ahead. We'll talk about it.
So I'm first going to give off that I am not saying that these people are better than others or worse than others.
Pause. I also want to give credit where it is due, and that is to you, because you keep an actual fluid spreadsheet of United States men's national team players eligible and kind of guys who aren't even playing anymore or too young. You have stats, you have positions, you have goals, you have assists, you have Europe, you have everything. You have an entire nerdy spreadsheet. I've seen it. It's ridiculous. I can't even do anything with it. So you are not just talking out of just, oh, I love the U.S. team. This is something you have done and spent time on.
Yes, I spent an unhealthy amount of time watching U.S. players. I will skip big games from other leagues to watch a U.S. player play because that is what is important to me. So I'm just going to point out some things. And that is my first point, Sean. Matt Turner at number 7, when he has been benched multiple times this year, is ridiculous.
Yes.
Tim Weah at number 5, when he has no goals, 1 assist, and has only started 33% of the total minutes that Juventus has played this season, is ridiculous. Now, I don't want to harp too bad on some of those guys because they are starters. I get that.
For the record, this is not a criticism of the players. This is a criticism of where they are ranked on a list.
Yes. So we got the top guys. So who should replace them? Tanner Tessman at 30 is absolutely ridiculous. He has started all except for 2 games for Venezia and has been by far, credit to Busio, by far Venezia's best player and is leading them on a charge to promotion to Serie A. Absolutely ridiculous. Malik Tillman is too low after he has 6 goals, 5 assists, pretty much the same as Christian Pulisic, and has been praised by his manager after the game as being the best player on the field multiple times. It is absolutely ridiculous that he is on that, not on that list, that he is so low on this list. And the last thing I want to say here,
No, it isn't, but go ahead.
any MLS player that is on this list is absolutely ridiculous. You want to know why? Because Cincinnati is a team that has played the most games out of any MLS team so far. You know how many games they've played since December 10th, because the final was December 9th?
10.
4. They've played 4 games, and 2 were against the same opponent, against a Jamaican side that doesn't play anybody. I'm sorry, but so no MLS player should be on this list if it is pure form, because they have not played enough games to have a form. Haji Wright is too low. Vasquez, he's also only played a certain amount of games, so I can kind of see why he's so low. But then why is
the other comment's mine, so just leave that one alone. I'm going to take Sean's other
is
comment.
Miles Robinson 19th when he has played 4 games and scored 1 goal for FC Cincinnati? This list makes no sense. You can tell this guy just put a list of the top 50 players that he thought were good and then went, oh, I'm just going to mix them up a little bit because I think that I'm clever. No, you don't know what you're talking about. This is terrible. This is ugly. And I never want to see this on my timeline ever again.
And I always thought it was going to be one of my rants that make us go viral. It'll 100% be you. This is organic because I have not allowed you to get any of this out. I have just continued to pepper you to save it for the pod. Save it for the pod. And that is why we do it, because that was amazing. Now, I want to bring up a couple things. Because I've got issues too. It isn't just Drew who's got issues with it. Jonas Musa at 10. No.
He hasn't played.
Thank you. No, not at all. Austin Trusty on this list, I think, is kind of an issue. He has not had good performances other than the one we talked about, 3 months ago, for Sheffield United. It has not been good. I'm not going to lie. I don't know who Caleb Wiley is. Okay. I don't know who Luca is. I don't know who
Luca Koleosho is projected to he's going to play for the US, Canada, or Italy. He has not chose any and is leaning towards joining the Canadian national team. So the reason why he's on this list when he hasn't even committed to a side makes no sense.
I love Sean. I love this rant too. And yes, this guy's list stinks. Christian Roldan being on the list is just a joke. It makes it a joke, just in general. Jordan Morris, I love Jordan Morris. Nobody argues on behalf of Jordan Morris more than me. He shouldn't be on this list. Matt Turner, I'm not sure. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not sure we should have a goalie in the top 50. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think any of them played that well. And my favorite comment, because we talk about him every week. This show covers United States men's national team more than any show that is going on right now. I will challenge it, whether it's Taylor Twellman, whether it's Alexi Lawless, whether it is the bleeping MLS coverage show, or any of the Footy Friday stuff, or I'm sorry, that's our show, any of the CBS Golazo network. I challenge any show to tell us that they cover the United States men's national team and U.S. players more than us when the damn segment is called Americans Abroad. We mention Josh Sargent every damn week because he scores or assists every week, and the guy's not in the top 50. You have got to be bleeping kidding me. Anton Robinson has played 4 games. I don't know who Rokas Pukastis is, okay? I don't know who that is. How is he on the list and Josh Sargent is not there? Josh Sargent is scoring more goals than Haji Wright, Jesus Ferreira, Brandon Vasquez. The only person I think he's not scoring more than is Pepe. You have got to be kidding. And Pepe's scoring Champions League goals. So how is that not higher up on the list? Ricardo Pepe is doing something that Pulisic, Weston McKennie, only Serginho Dest and him are doing. And that is playing in the Champions League. So how are they not higher? Now it's my turn to rant. Your rant made me angry. I've never, are you kidding me?
No, I completely get.
I have never watched Griffin Yao play a single minute of football. I'm not going to lie to you.
No, I have no idea. I have no idea who that is, and that's saying something because 99% of those guys on the list, I'm like, oh, I've heard of him or I've seen him play. I don't know who Griffin Yao is. And another thing, Slonina being on this list when he has had 3 clean sheets in 26 matches and averages 2 goals conceded per start is absolutely atrocious. And I back you on the Sargent thing because I looked it up. There are 2 players in double-digit goals on that are for the U.S. Sargent with 11 and Haji Wright with 11. Both cannot crack the top half of this list. Makes no sense to me.
It's garbage. And I'm not trying to call him. It's not a call out of the players. Number one. But if you're gonna put on a list, and I'm sorry, like I argued, you're gonna have to find another show, and somebody could add us at me on our X on the Twitter, Straub Bros Sports. You find me a show that covers the United States men's national team and U.S. players more than us. I'm searching through the list because I'm trying to actually find out where this kid plays because I want to give it credit. Westerro.
Oh, where I know he plays with right back.
Exactly.
What's his name?
It's why you're the brains of the pod, or not the brains, but the
Brian Reynolds.
Exactly.
Brian Reynolds.
Exactly. So I just know.
But I've never heard his name. I've never seen him play.
Cameron Carter Vickers. Obviously, it's CCV. They're in at 18. I couldn't fit his name in the list.
He came off an injury lately, and also another thing at 28. I love him, but Gio Reyna, a man who has played maybe a max of like 45 minutes per game, like a game this entire season, and hasn't started a single game for Nottingham Forest since his transfer in January, being at 28, makes absolutely no sense to me. This list is just awful, terrible. And I don't want to talk anymore because I'm just going to continue to yell, and it's going to be a 2.5-hour podcast of us just yelling.
That was, I think, my favorite Americans Abroad segment of all time. That is being clipped. I think the whole thing is just going to get clipped.
I got players if we want to go to that.
No. That part was amazing. We're going to clip that. That was great. Now, Drew, I got that out of the way. And I apologize. But now, go ahead and give the people what they're ready for. And that is Americans Abroad, the true update.
Okay. I'm good. I'm calm.
That was amazing, by the way, bro.
Yes.
Amazing.
All righty. Americans Abroad, let's do it. Haji Wright has scored again, and he has become the third U.S. player to take pens for their club. He scored off a penalty that makes, like I said, 11, and he got an assist in his previous game yesterday. He is absolutely killing it. 25th on the list is way too low. Anyways, we're going to continue to move on to another player.
You want the list up while you give it?
No,
so people
sure. Why not? Put the list up again. Why not? Yeah, okay. Another person who can't seem to find in this list, Josh Sargent has scored again. A great touch and volley. Won the game for Norwich, by the way. Didn't know if whatever the dude's name that you put out there, doesn't know that because he apparently isn't watching championship games. But he scored again. He's on 11. A player who I also think should be on this list, Zach Booth, got another goal. And also, what I didn't realize is he is currently on loan to his team right now. You know who his parent club is? Leicester City.
Really?
So, a successful loan spell and a potential coming up could possibly see him either go to a better team or stick with it, depending on what Leicester wants to do with him at the end of the season.
I apologize. I was a horrible teammate there.
No, you're good. All right. Another person who is, I think, a little too high, but is playing well, Alejandro Zendejas. He had 2 goals to seal the game for Club America and a man of the match performance. It's possible he gets a Nations League call-up. I think that it's a decent opportunity considering the lack of good play with our wingers right now. He is definitely an option. So that is another person. Someone who I think also should be called up for Nations League, Johnny Cardoso. He got an assist. He, like I said, his club continues to love him. They did lose to Atletico Madrid, but he had a good game, and I think he is rightly up in the top half of this list. I think that is one of the things that this guy got right, is having him up top. 2 more to go. We have 1/3 of the PSV trio, Malik Tillman, and if you haven't seen it, it is a filthy solo goal from Malik Tillman. Nutmegs the defender, chops his feet, gets by another, and slots it home for their first goal in the first 10 minutes of the game. Absolutely killed it. Just beautiful stuff from Malik Tillman as he continues to impress. And he, again, should get a Nations League call-up. And finally, Again, someone who I miss very dearly. Again, Brandon Vasquez has scored. It was a beautiful touch and turn goal. Another win for Monterrey. They are first in Liga MX. They have yet to lose in league so far. They have, I think, 5 wins and 3 draws, if my memory serves me correctly. And like I said earlier, he will be coming back to his old club as they face off against FC Cincinnati on tomorrow in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Very big game. It's going to be a lot of emotions for both sides, as Brandon Vasquez was our main guy, and we gave him so much love and on and off the field. And so whatever happens tomorrow, good luck to him. Good luck to Monterrey and up Cincinnati. And that's all I got.
Ooh, I'm gonna mess with you on the Snapchat because I'm gonna possibly put in a bet on Brandon Vasquez to score possibly more than one.
And that's okay, because honestly, well, we have a solid defense, so we'll see.
But at least one. Yeah. Are you good now? That was a much better finish to Americans Abroad than the start. Man, great show today, bro. Thank you everybody for rocking with us. Commenting here in the chat if you're with us live, watching, listening, however you consume the show. We appreciate it. The 216 Sports Network, that's where you find us. You can follow and like on Facebook. Please like and subscribe on YouTube to find us and the rest of the 216 Sports Network. It's where you'll find 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth, the Jay Rich Show, the Ruler's Minute with Rico McGee, Outside Interference, and the Straub Bros Sports Show.
Thank you, everybody.
Hold on. You can also find us on all of social media, and I'm sorry, I'm giving directions out here. I'm directing the band
in the world of social media
to the band leader who's coming in to help us finish the pod. You can find us on TikTok at the SBSS. You can find us on Twitter, or X as it's known now, at the Straub Bros Sports Show, or at Straub Bros Sports. You can come here, just be quiet. It's not your turn yet. It's time for you to just kind of sit here and let Daddy finish the show. And hold on. And you can find us on Spotify, where you can take us everywhere that we go, and you can catch up on anything that you have missed from the start, and you can rock with us from the beginning. Drew.
Thank you, everybody. It was a great show. Thank you all for tuning in, whether it was during the live or later on during the podcast. If you're listening afterwards, everyone have a great weekend. I will be traveling this week, so keep updates on that in regards to the show and everything. And have a great night.
Absolutely. I am Big Bro for little bro Drew. This has been the Straub Bros Sports Show. Landon, tell the people how to end it.
I love yours.
Absolutely. Love yours.